8:18 WJTS News, I'm Charlotte Olson. Last night, the Jasper Utility Service Board listened to a presentation from Chris Redding, Senior Vice President and also Chief Financial Officer for the Indiana Municipal Power Agency, and he provided information on how the agency is working for the Jasper community. The Indiana Municipal Power Agency is a wholesale electric power provider serving the needs of 60 Indiana towns and cities, which include Jasper, who is one of the group's largest customer bases. As individual utilities, municipalities have limited access to power supply options. IMPA was formed so its member utilities could share power resources as members. By purchasing power from IMPA instead of purchasing your power or generating it for themselves, agency members found that they could save money and in turn keep electric costs for their customers as low as possible. In other business last night, Todd Kirsteins of Kirsteins Homes and Designs asked the board if the city would cut the cost of providing gas services to the newly developed Trinity Crossings subdivision. Kirsteins said that he would like to reach an agreement with the city on how to share the cost of a natural gas line that would be ran into the development site. Kirstein suggested using a model that Vectren and Evansville contractors applied to their gas utility services for new developments within the Evansville area. He suggested that the city of Jasper place the amount that it would cost to provide gas services to the Trinity Crossing subdivision into a 6-year contract escrow account, and as lots are developed, the city would be reimbursed from that account. The proposal was tabled for next month's meeting. Gas manager Tim Dorson proposed to the board the adoption of the Beaver Lake Dam and Incident and Emergency Action Plan, which was approved by the board. The Emergency Action Plan would provide an outline of how to handle a situation with Beaver Dam, given that it should face a failure within its structure. Along with the emergency plan came the approval from the Council of the On-Call Service Agreement. This on-call service agreement with Christopher Berkey Engineering, and the agreement is in regards to maintaining the quality checks and also the reports to the city of the structural integrity of Beaver Dam. Also, Dorson told the board that the Beaver Lake Dam will be closed on March the 1st, and Wastewater Commissioner Alex Emmons reported that the Wastewater Committee had held its meeting officially on January the 27th to discuss and to cover the current rate study. The rate study is required every 2 years, and Emmons says that when the study came back, it generated a number of questions from the committee. Emmons says that the study was highly in-depth and also highly detailed, and that it recommended that the city increase their rates, which he says was to no one's overall surprise.
We had a rate study done in which we were required to do every 2 years. When it came back, we had a lot of questions from the study. It was very in-depth, very detailed, and it was recommended that we increase our rates, which probably is not surprising. But we questioned some of the line items in this study and where they were coming up with these numbers. They had projected a couple different rate increases, and we quite honestly, didn't like either of them. So we asked the consultant to give us some other figures. We needed to give them better figures to deal with. We were concerned about the study was based on doing 2 years, but we know by the age of our plant is 25 years old approximately, we're going to have some other major work that needs to be done, and we wanted to project that further so we could smooth out those rate increases and make it more palatable. So we actually just sent it back. We've got another study that we have received, and we're going to review that on Friday morning.
Pending more information in regards to rate adjustments, the Wastewater Committee will hear more on the study when they meet again on Friday morning. Emmons says that they are reviewing all capital funding expenditures in regards to improvements to the city's wastewater plant that are being projected, and he also says that the committee is mindful of the possibility of future projects. Finally, the Utility Board approved Electric Distribution Manager Jerry Sheeter's request to begin the hiring process for a lineman and apprentice after in light of lineman Steve Piper's plans to retire after 38 years of service. The Indiana House of Representatives unanimously passed a bill on Tuesday which would allow Hoosiers to use cannabinoid oil to treat epilepsy. According to the bill's co-author, State Representative Lloyd Arnold, a Republican of Leavenworth, House Bill 1148 would allow a person to possess cannabinoid oil if they or their child have been diagnosed with severe epilepsy, and they also have to meet certain common sense safety requirements. Arnold said that the oil is a compound refined from cannabis that has a wide scope of medical applications, including the control of epilepsy and seizures. Arnold explains why it's important success of being able to legally have cannabinoid oil for parents with children who experience these epilepsies.
With this legislation is the CBD oil that's used, and I have several constituents that their children have epilepsy and they're having seizures, and they need something that's going to work versus traditional medication. And this is working for them, but they also have that fear of being prosecuted, having that substance on them. So what this bill does, it allows these parents to have the CBD oil and be free from prosecution.
Cannabinoid oil can provide a life-changing treatment option for Hoosiers who suffer from epilepsy, especially children who suffer from epilepsy, Arnold said. This issue is one that he has worked on for the past few years, and it's encouraging to see strong support for this bill, which would give parents and also patients who are out of options the power to seek alternative solutions for epilepsy treatment. Arnold also said that the cannabinoid oil, while derived from cannabis, has very low levels of THC, so it cannot be used as a recreational drug. Because of this restriction, cannabinoid oil should not be confused with medical marijuana. Cannabinoid oil has shown documented effectiveness in helping manage the symptoms of otherwise persistent conditions of epilepsy. Some of these conditions are the Dravet syndrome and Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. The bill will now go into the Senate for further consideration. To learn more about this bill, visit iga.in.gov to learn more about the general legislation. Make sure you keep it right here, because up next we'll take a look at your weather summary.